dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amano Boarding and Day School.
To our lesson today, my name is Teacher Eric. I'll be taking you through something very important, actually, to you grade 7s who are watching at home and elsewhere. Last time in our previous lesson, we actually looked at the ancient civilization, and we looked at the Egyptian civilization, where we said that civilization is the development of society. Society can develop in very many ways, one of them including education, farming, science and technology. Now, in Africa in general, we said that civilization started in Egypt. We used to call it Egyptian civilization. We looked at how River Nile used to help them to do farming and trading and mining. Now, most importantly, today in our lesson, we are also looking at another civilization, another place where civilization started. Now, we are looking at the ancient Mesopotamia civilization. And I know most of you actually are like wondering what Mesopotamia means. And we shall also be looking at the meaning of Mesopotamia. We shall be looking at where it is and how this civilization started. And so, by the end of this lesson, it means that as a learner, you should be able to define or actually define what Mesopotamia means, and you should also be able to state where it was found and the people who helped to find Mesopotamia. Now, to begin with, actually, here, Mesopotamia actually is a Greek word that means the land between two rivers. A Greek word that means the land between two rivers. We talk about Greek word is actually, Greek is a language spoken by the people of Greece. Greece is a country in Europe. Now, presently, actually in present day, Mesopotamia is found where this country is. Mesopotamia is found in the present day country of Iraq. Now, we all know Iraq is a country in the Middle East, and so here Mesopotamia was located where Iraq is. Now, moving forward, we shall also be looking at now, because we have said that Mesopotamia is a Greek word which means land between two rivers. Which two rivers are these? Good. Now, here we shall look at where Mesopotamia itself was located. So our map here shows Mesopotamia, and as you can see here, I'm going to use a highlighter actually to try and show you. Mesopotamia is here. The whole of this is land, actually a very large land, and it is a land which actually is located between two rivers. It is sitting between two rivers. Which two rivers are these? As you can see here are rivers. One, Tigris is here, and river Euphrates. Euphrates is E-U-P-H-R-A-T-E-S, and Tigris is T-I-G-R-I-S. Those are the two rivers actually that provided water for Mesopotamia. And as you can see, if you can clearly see that River Nile is here, so that means Africa is here. This is Africa, and the Red Sea is here. Crossing on the other side, that's Middle East. And you can see we have Jericho, we have Mesopotamia the other side, the Persian, now where we have Iraq and Iran. And now we shall actually be looking at who are the founders, who used to live in Mesopotamia, what activities used to take place in Mesopotamia. So again, we have said that Mesopotamia means land between two rivers. These two rivers are rivers Euphrates and Tigris. Good. Now, here, the rivers are here, have been highlighted, and we've also said that different races of people lived in Mesopotamia. We are going to look at these different races and what you call race. Actually, a race or a group of people, races, different races, could be also different communities. Different communities. Like here in the Horn of Africa, we have different communities. We have actually the Somalis, we have the Amhara, we have the Oromo. All these are different communities of people. So back then, again, in Mesopotamia, we also had different communities that used to live there. These different communities, class, as we shall be looking at them, include here Sumerians, S-U-M-E-R-I-A-N-S. Then we have Assyrians, Akkadians, and Babylonians. Now, when we add S at the end, that means they are people, communities of people. Like the way we can say Somalis, then we put S at the end, right? The way we can say maybe, for example, Kenyans, then we put S at the end. So the same, we have Sumerians, we have Assyrians, Akkadians, and Babylonians. Now we shall look at this, that actually Mesopotamia civilization itself was started by the Sumerian people. So key word here is that this community, the Sumerian, is a community that started Mesopotamia civilization. That means the Sumerian people worked hard, they improved methods of farming, technology, education, and science. So the Sumerian people are the founders of the Mesopotamia, even though they used to live some other communities, but the Sumerian people worked very hard. Later on, as we shall progress, we shall look at now how the Babylonians now came to be very powerful. Babylonians came to be very powerful, and each of them actually had to build towns. All these people had to build towns where they live. For example, Babylonians built a town or a city known as Babylon. Also, like Assyrians also had their own city. So some of the cities that we shall look at here include the following. Examples of towns, we shall look at now. Examples of towns that were built by the Sumerians here include 1. Babylon, the Sumer, Assyria, Nineveh, and Lagash. All these are towns that grew into big cities because of improved technology, improved methods of farming, science, and other things. So that is basically what civilization is all about. Ways in which people develop themselves, behavior, manners in which they can help, actually in which they can survive and make their lives, you know, actually make their lives important, or make their lives actually admirable by other communities. Now, also going forward, we shall also look at how now Babylon became a very strong city. Now, Babylonians also worked very hard, but when people work hard, they need somebody to guide them. So Babylonians worked hard, and they were guided and led by their leader. They had a king. So they built the Babylon city, and their king, here we shall be looking at King Hammurabi. King Hammurabi was the king of Babylon here. King Hammurabi is here. He was actually the king of Babylon. And so Babylonians were proud to have a king who was very powerful, a king who could lead them and help them. Now, how could he lead them? Of course, even at home, even here in our country, our president can lead us only if there is law, if there is a constitution. A constitution is actually rules that govern a country. So King Hammurabi also came up with some codes of conduct, some rules that were supposed to be followed by people. If you fail to follow them, then there was a consequence or a punishment. The punishment could be death or prison. So we shall also be looking at these rules that were enacted or were brought about by King Hammurabi. Now, what you see here is actually various images showing King Hammurabi, the king of Babylon. We have image 1, image 2, and 3 here, actually showing King Hammurabi, the king of Babylon, was a very powerful king during the Mesopotamia civilization. very powerful king, right? And so next time when you're asked who was the king of Babylon, you have to say actually it was King Hammurabi. Now, next is some of the rules that King Hammurabi enacted. One of them is an eye for an eye. You know what this means? That if you actually take away somebody's eye, your eye was also supposed to be taken away. That means also a tooth for a tooth. It means when you kill somebody, you are also killed. When you remove somebody's hand, your hand was also removed. Then anyone who commits robbery, when we talk about robbery, we are actually talking about actually people who break into others' property and steal. So anybody who commits robbery should be put to death, should be killed. Then also, if a man stole a property, what happened? And especially at the temple, at a holy place where people worship, such a person actually would be put to death near the temple. You don't have to take him far away to the prison. You kill him there and then. Those are some of actually the rules that were enacted by King Hammurabi. Now, also, if a son struck or hit his father, his hand would be cut off. They chop off the hand of a son who kills the father. Then also, if someone stole a baby, he or she should be put to death. Stealing a baby was even not heard of. It was a big crime. You should be put to death. Now, to sum up what you have learned today, we have looked at Mesopotamia civilization. In class, we have said that Mesopotamia means land between two rivers. Which rivers were these? River Euphrates and Tigris. We have also looked at the rules that were enacted by King Hammurabi. We also have looked at the communities that lived in Mesopotamia, including the Sumerians, Assyrians, Akkadians, among others, and even the Babylonians. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Bye. Have a nice time.